Also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats. When I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain. That's hard. And I'm there 24/7. I can't get out.
Snow White was meant to be the movie that crowned her as Hollywood royalty, the one that everyone would remember forever. But instead of a fairy tale success, it turned into a total nightmare. What was supposed to make her career became the moment that everyone points to when talking about how quickly fame can flip upside down. And the wild part? People say the warning signs were there from the start. Back in the day, Walt Disney himself reportedly said Snow White should never be remade. But years later, the studio ignored that advice and pushed forward anyway. The chaos didn't even wait for the premiere. Things went off the rails the second the trailer dropped. The reactions were brutal. People online joked that even if the movie played for free on a flight, they'd still skip it. Then came the storm about casting. Viewers kept asking, why couldn't they find someone who actually looked like the original Snow White?
Share a lot of myself with the world these days. I'm trying to be less active and check less and scroll less and read less, mostly because when I do look at things or read things on social media, it makes me upset. It makes me like a worse person, I think. It makes me, harbor a lot of feelings of guilt, doubt.
That question spread like fire, with one viral comment saying the name Snow White didn't even fit anymore. That single post exploded into massive debate and non-stop arguments online. Within days, cancel petitions were everywhere, racking up millions of dislikes and putting the studio in a total PR mess. Every time they stayed silent, the backlash just got louder and louder. The studio made changes, but not the kind anyone was asking for. Instead of improving things, they went all in on flashy CGI, swapping out the charming old-school effects for fake-looking animations that fans said resembled unfinished video game characters. Even the forest looked computer-generated, so fake that people started asking, where did all that massive budget go? Then came the part that truly shocked fans. The music. Iconic songs like Someday My Prince Will Come vanished completely, and along with them, the prince himself. In his place, audiences got a brand new character and a storyline that felt more like a lecture than a fairy tale. By the end, the movie didn't feel magical. It felt like some kind of social experiment, and the crowd reaction said it all. People simply weren't buying into it. But what stirred up even more backlash than the movie itself was the lead actress. The problem wasn't her acting skills. It was her attitude. Viewers said she came off as overly confident, even dismissive, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Long before the film's release, her interviews had already sparked tension, and by the time it hit screens, the audience had already made up their minds. Back in 2020, Rachel Zegler set off a major storm online when she publicly called out Jeremy Renner, labeling him a racist, sexist, transphobic garbage monster. Those accusations later turned out to be false, but the internet never forgot how fast she went after him. When someone clapped back, telling her to learn the facts before talking reckless, she fired off a bold reply, "Better catch my mouth 'cause she running." That one line stuck with people, and not in a good way. The response painted her as cocky and impulsive, and that image followed her for years. As time passed, the controversies didn't fade, they grew louder. She openly criticized the original Snow White, calling the prince a stalker, and claimed she deserved the lead role more than anyone else. Fans didn't take it as confidence, they saw it as straight-up ego. At one point, she even joked about her co-stars having their scenes cut, which many thought was wild since she wasn't the director or producer. It all came off as dismissive, and ironically, she became the main reason some audiences said they refused to see the movie. What seemed like minor drama at first suddenly turned into a full-blown PR crisis. Things took a sharp turn when one of her co-stars, who was Israeli and publicly supported Israel, caused visible tension during the promo tour. That alone had social media in chaos. But the real explosion came when one of Rachel's posts allegedly got linked to another actress being hit with waves of online harassment.
And also because I know how mean people get when pictures of me surface on the internet. It's gotten to a point where I actually had the thought in my brain of what surgery and how much surgery do I have to get for people to finally stop calling me ugly.
The backlash grew so serious that security reportedly had to step in for safety reasons. That's when everything stopped feeling like gossip and started feeling dangerous. After that moment, any bit of goodwill the movie had completely vanished. The film didn't even get the chance to fail naturally. The internet had already delivered its final judgment. Rachel became the #1 target, and the memes came crashing in non-stop. Every social platform turned into a roast session, with people posting side-by-side comparisons and even joking that she looked like Edna Mode. Once that started, it was over. There was no slowing it down. Reddit threads blew up with users analyzing every screenshot, frame by frame, turning clips into viral edits and artwork. On Twitter, hashtags like #NotMySnowWhite exploded, filled with jokes, criticism, and endless posts questioning how the evil queen was supposed to be jealous of her in the first place. The internet piled on, stacking memes and commentary at lightning speed, and it only got messier by the hour.
I can't post a picture of myself on Twitter without a bunch of people telling me how ugly I am. That's hard. Simultaneously wishing people would stop.
Then came another twist. Fans discovered that the movie used CGI dwarfs instead of real actors, reportedly because Rachel's height was around 5'2", making her close in size to the original characters. That reasoning just added fuel to the chaos. People started cracking jokes saying things like, Lord Farquaad made a comeback and somehow ended up more likable. Before long, petitions calling for her removal from the movie began circulating, with fans insisting that her attitude and interviews had turned them off way before the film even released. What began as simple criticism spiraled out of control, turning into harassment, stalking, and even threats. It showed just how wild online outrage can get once someone becomes the internet's main target. Rachel Zegler later revealed that the backlash didn't just stay trapped behind screens, it came crashing into her real life. She claimed people actually showed up outside her apartment, shouting insults and screaming at her. It got so intense that everyone started asking the same question. Did she really deserve all of that? And what kind of damage was it doing to her mentally? She admitted the hate hit her harder than she ever thought possible. At one point, she confessed that she almost quit social media completely because the negativity dragged her into depression. The non-stop criticism weighed her down so badly that she even thought about getting plastic surgery. Not because she wanted it, but because she felt pressured to change just to quiet the noise.
I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once.
Her once active posts slowed down, then nearly disappeared as she tried to protect her peace. All she wanted was for everything to calm down, but it never did. She said she felt haunted by the non-stop hate, admitting, "People have no sympathy. It's getting sick. I don't know how much more I can take. It's haunting me. I cry every day. I just want it all to stop." Those words showed just how much she was breaking under the weight of it all, but sadly, things only got worse. When the movie finally premiered, the pressure reached its peak, with a production cost of around $270 million and a marketing push that pushed the total past $400 million. Expectations were sky high, but reality hit hard. The opening weekend numbers were a major letdown, and the second week saw an even bigger drop. What was meant to be a fairy tale comeback turned into one of Hollywood's most expensive heartbreaks. The movie needed almost $500 million just to break even, but it didn't even come close. The numbers were brutal, and the ratings showed it.
To what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
On sites like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, the scores dropped shockingly low, painting a picture of total disappointment. TikTok and Reddit filled up with viral clips of nearly empty theaters, showing rows of vacant seats where crowds were supposed to be. Even theater staff joined the conversation. One worker reportedly said, "I didn't even know it was out," while others claimed some screenings had barely a handful of people. The silence in those theaters said everything, leaving one huge question hanging in the air. Who was actually responsible for this massive flop? Almost immediately, fingers started pointing straight at Rachel Zegler.
So now they've put it all on her. Now that it failed, here's what happened. She made the cardinal error of saying free Palestine on Twitter. So she could say all that men are bad and it's this and that, but once you do that, now they've put the entire weight of the failure upon her, when really, it's like making Jimmy Fallon apologize for doing a Chris Rock impression.
As if she was the director, the screenwriter, the costume designer, and the one who told the studio to burn through nearly $500 million on a remake no one asked for. That idea spread fast online. It made for an easy target and an easy outrage story, but it wasn't the truth. Rachel didn't control the budget, she didn't decide the creative direction, and she definitely didn't choose to remake Snow White in the first place. Yet, instead of owning up to its own mistakes, the studio seemed to quietly shift the blame overnight. Suddenly, the headlines stopped calling it Disney's failed remake and started calling it Rachel Zegler's movie.
I don't really like giving people an opportunity to use my content as a way to bring me down about things that I say and things that I do or the way that I look.
After the blame shifted, the damage was already done. Rachel's name became permanently tied to the downfall, even though most of the decisions were out of her hands. Every interview, every old tweet, every facial expression in a press clip got dissected like evidence in a courtroom. What had started as criticism of a movie turned into a non-stop public trial of one actress. Meanwhile, Disney stayed silent. No big statements, no defense, just quiet distance. Insiders whispered that the company wanted to move on and let the storm pass. But by that point, the internet had made up its mind. Rachel had become a symbol of everything people said was wrong with modern remakes. Too political, too forced, too disconnected from the magic that made Disney classics timeless. Her next moves were under a microscope. Even neutral posts online got twisted into fresh controversies. One selfie turned into a debate thread.
A lot of people are very mean, so when I do public appearances, I get very anxious. I had an anxiety attack. I can't post a picture of myself on Twitter without a bunch of people telling me how ugly I am.
One comment about acting turned into headlines. It was clear that public forgiveness wasn't coming anytime soon. Behind the scenes, there were talks about whether she'd still be cast in future projects. Some claimed studios grew hesitant, worried her name would bring bad press before cameras even started rolling. Others said she just needed time to rebuild her image. But that's easier said than done in today's world, where one viral moment can decide your entire career. As for Snow White, it faded from theaters faster than anyone predicted, quietly sliding off screens while newer releases took its place. But the shadow it left behind still lingers. The movie that was meant to redefine a classic instead became a cautionary tale, proof that in the age of social media, one wrong step can turn a fairy tale dream into a very public nightmare. In the months that followed, the aftermath of Snow White became almost more talked about than the film itself. Hollywood insiders called it one of the biggest PR misfires in recent memory. The movie's failure wasn't just about numbers anymore, it became a conversation about image, ego, and how fast public trust can vanish when fans feel unheard. Rachel tried stepping back, keeping things low-key, but the internet wasn't ready to let it go.
And you don't kind of talk to her about like, hey, don't get political, you're young, and I know you have opinions about things, but should be just about...
Every new project she was rumored to join sparked heated debates, with people arguing whether she even deserved another shot in the spotlight. Some defended her, saying she was unfairly turned into the scapegoat for a studio's bad decisions. Others insisted she brought chaos on herself through her attitude and interviews. Meanwhile, Disney faced its own reckoning. The backlash made them rethink how they handled remakes altogether. Rumors spread that executives started hitting pause on several upcoming reboots, worried the same pattern might repeat. Big budgets, huge backlash, and tiny box office returns. Fans began demanding originality again, shouting for new stories instead of recycled classics. Despite everything, Rachel's name kept trending. For some, she became a warning. For others, a symbol of how brutal fame can be in the digital age. The truth sits somewhere in the middle, caught between bad timing, bad optics, and a fandom that simply stopped believing in the magic. By the end, Snow White wasn't remembered as a fairy tale. It became a headline, a meme, a scandal frozen in time. It showed how one project, one trailer, and one viral moment can rewrite a career overnight. What was meant to bring nostalgia ended up teaching Hollywood a harsh lesson. In today's world, reputation moves faster than any movie ever can. Instead of owning up to their creative and financial choices, the studio let a young actress take the hit, and that decision made everything so much worse. Trolls doubled down, turning her into the punching bag for problems she didn't even create. Online critics exaggerated every detail, saying her performance ruined the movie, while completely ignoring the fact that Snow White was struggling long before it ever premiered. Even people connected to the production made things messier. One of the producer's relatives claimed Rachel brought personal politics into the promo tour and risked the work of everyone involved. Sure, some of her comments rubbed people the wrong way, but blaming her for the entire collapse? That never made sense. Ironically, this was when public opinion finally started to shift, just a little. Some people began speaking out, saying they didn't like her attitude, but still didn't support the harassment and hate that went way too far. Others reminded everyone of something that kept getting lost in the chaos. Rachel is human. She's imperfect. She makes mistakes. She says things people disagree with. But none of that justifies bullying, stalking, or threats. There's no denying the backlash left a mark on her mental health. After everything she's faced, the bigger question now is what happens next? Can her career recover? And will Hollywood finally stop using young actors as scapegoats when big-budget projects fail? So what do you think? Did Disney handle this fairly, or did Rachel take the fall for their choices? Was the backlash justified, or did it spiral way out of control? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this.